Hey guys, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining this keynote speak. Firstly, I just want to say this is absolutely crazy that I am here doing a keynote speech about my life, because this was something I always wanted to do when I was starting out in the business world and going from something small to something relatively bigger. So this is an amazing opportunity, and I'd love to say a big thank you to Summit and Startup Scaleup to allow me to be on here. And thank you so much for joining as well. So today I will put a disclaimer in. I'm no motivational speaker. I'm no business expert at all. But what I am is I've got raw experience in the world of business over the last 4 to 5 years, where I've gone through some really, really low moments and I've gone through some really, really high moments, and basically gone on the journey of a roller coaster, which is continuously always happening. It will never ever stop. But today I really want to talk to you about my journey, the stuff I've sort of gone through and the experiences I've had. And maybe from that, there could be something that you can take that could become really, really beneficial for you. It could be the smallest nugget of it all, but I hope something I can say today can really add some impact in your life, and I hope that can lead to some positive changes going forward. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my experience in my life so far. So I'm 32 years old, and I come from a background where I've studied in pharmacy, and I studied at the University of Hertfordshire. My dream was to become a dentist. I actually did get into dentistry at King's College, and I chose to go into pharmacy after because of some experiences that I had with my placement days, etc. Did I make the right decision? Who knows, because it's allowed me to get to where I am today. And I'm very grateful and very humbled by the situation that has been created over the last 4 to 5 years. Now, destiny is one thing, life is a different thing, but I'm happy with the path that I chose, be it the long-winded route of whatever it would be. So I used to, I was a young, budding sort of student that came from university, had a great time at University of Hertfordshire, and I studied thoroughly with the whole pharmacy degree. And I had ideas, I had plans. I thought to myself, you know what, I really want to, I really want to do something with my life. I want to become this pharmacist. I want to do this. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And I soon came to realize how life is absolutely not how you plan it. I also came to realize that that you can't do much in your life when you're sort of stuck into a corporate world. Now, there are two types of people in this world. And I was not the first set, which is the 9-to-5 type of person. So my experience was when I worked at Boots, worked at Boot Pharmacy, and I loved the experience that I had. I loved the training opportunities, and I loved the opportunity that I had a job, you know, and that was something I was very grateful for. But I've always been an ideas man. I've always been a creative type of individual. So I used to go to my line manager and I used to say, oh, you know, we should include this into this platform. We should include this into this passion. This will improve patient journey and the experience for a patient. This will improve patient safety. But you soon come to realize that any idea that you have is literally the smallest idea in a big pond. So you have to go to your line manager, which has to go to another manager, which has to go to the area manager, which has to go to XYZ before anything is ever implemented. And I remember speaking to my line manager at the time. He was an absolutely amazing guy, great pharmacist and a great individual who had a great brain on him and really cared about patient safety. And I remember speaking to him, and I remember him saying he's been here for 15 years and it's only got him to that particular level in his career. And I wasn't too ambitious, potentially, maybe too ambitious for my age, which was a problem, because it meant I was not able to just settle and just get on with things. So I went on and I went and worked in a local pharmacy, with a guy that I knew, and I was working with a small team of people and trying to grow something. And I soon came to realize, you know what, actually, this whole thing isn't for me. I was working 16 hours a day. I was working really early morning shifts. I was working late night. I had no life. I had Saturdays, no Saturdays to myself. I had a Sunday, and for me, that wasn't life. Now, I was earning well, but I had no time. And growing up, I saw my parents, my family, they've all worked really, really hard, really, really hard. But there were times when my dad couldn't really be at certain things because he was always working. And I've always wanted to grow up and say one day, if I'm in a situation and I have children, I'd love to be able to go to their football match or go to their play or something, because life's not all about money, right? Money makes the world go round, but if anything, I think time and health is wealth. But money talks, and sometimes everything else walks. So I'll talk more about that going forward, and if money is everything, and we can go from there. Now, with every life that everybody has, and I'm sure all of you who are listening today would have experienced the same roller coasters in anything you do, be it a 9-to-5 job, be it a relationship, be it with children. But I'm going to talk to you about my lows and my highs as an entrepreneur who started off really, really young in the industry of working and running a business. So I was working the 16-hour shifts. I had a poor understanding of money, and because I was working in an industry which paid you relatively well compared to other industries, and that I was always grateful for, and it allowed me to create a platform to maybe bounce off of. But I had no notion of what money was. I would buy a Ted Baker leather jacket. I would drive luxury cars. I would spend it on anything and this and this and this. And that's age. That's probably comes with experience. But little did I know, in the background of all of that, my parents were struggling dearly. My dad works in the travel industry. My mum is a preschool teacher, so I've not come from a background which is medically orientated, or people that know what my path was like and that opened doors for me. I've always had to sort of break down doors. But what I always have had is my parents, who have always been supportive, and they were always sort of pushing me to become a better person. But little did I know, around that time when I was not really liking my job, or not liking whatever I was doing, but still spending money like it was growing on trees, I didn't know deep down that my parents were struggling. And I'll never forget the day that I was sitting on my bed and my mum was there crying, and we had no money, and I didn't know this. And basically, due to the recession and due to the fact that travel is always the first thing that tends to get hit during recession, my dad was working really, really hard, and things were not really, really working. And that quickly turned me into a different animal, an absolute different animal, because I had this internal thing growing up as a kid in university, even as a young pharmacist. I always was a creative individual and quite ambitious, but I never had the catalyst to take that jump. And that jump was never really there for me, because I was like, what else is there in life? This is my job. And I'll never forget getting the letter from the government saying that you're going to retire at the age of 69. That's the earliest that you can potentially retire. Now, hearing that your dad and mum are struggling, I soon became one of breadwinners towards helping the mortgage, making sure the house was intact, making sure there was food on the table. And I soon slowly became a different individual than I really was, because I was soon thrown into the adult world of life, that money comes and goes. But it was a really unhappy time, really unhappy time. And then that period of my time and the pressures that came with it really sort of pushed me to become something that I really wanted to do. So doors were not opening, and I was really down. I was really upset, and I was stuck in a job that I wasn't really happy with. But I always wanted to do something. I wanted to help people. I wanted to grow, whatever it was. And obviously, it's turned out to be that I run a business. But that was my happiness. That was my calling. And sometimes life is throws you so many different things, and it's how you deal with it at the time that works. But that's what started to create a fire in my belly. I also had a girlfriend at the time who I loved so dearly, but when you change as an individual because you react to things that you never really would react to, you're stressed, you're constantly stressed because you don't know if there's going to be food on the table. It was really tough, really tough. And it's not something I really talk about at the time, but it's shaped me for who I am today. That tough time that I went through meant that I got to do something about this. Now, I've always been someone that's worked hard, because around me, everyone's always worked hard. But I believe the generation that we live in now is all about working smart. So I tried to come up with smart ways of creating different ways. Unfortunately, during that process, I lost a lot of people that I loved. My relationships didn't work out. My friends didn't really understand what I was doing, or the person I was, where I would go out drinking tequila and whiskey shots and whatever it was every week, and I stopped doing that. I had no life. But I had time. And that was the difference. That was an absolute difference. And I remember speaking to my granddad one day, and I was so upset. I was down, really down. And I remember him saying to me, Amar, if you're not happy, go and do something about it. And I did. I went and did something about it, and I went and found something that I absolutely loved. And I had my lows with that. I had my absolute lows in coming into the aesthetics industry, being a pharmacist who was not the norm in the cosmetic industry that we're in currently. It was very taboo. It was a very doctor-led industry. But I was, I had a passion. I was always skin orientated. I was always dermatology was always my background, and I knew I had a passion. This was something that I absolutely loved. It combined my medical element and it created my creativity, and I didn't want to lose that. I was there to disrupt. I was there to disrupt in a positive way, not in a negative way, but in a positive way. And that fire that came in me has never left, and I don't see it ever going because of the dramas that happened in my life. I found my why, and because of that why, it pushed me to become something that I never in my life thought I would be. Never in my life that I would be. And the opportunities that have come my way. Now, there comes the highs, obviously. With anything that you've got in particularly in all portions of life. And I think my highs that come from all of this is the people that I've met. Fair enough, I've lost the people that I've lost, but I also gained some amazing people. Something that I lacked, which was maybe I always had some form of self-belief, but I never really had that 30-40% of belief that I thought I could really do this and take that potential leap that can make a change, right? For myself, for my family, and for the people around me. But I gained some amazing people along the way who believed in me, and believed in my process, and believed in my ideas. And the amount of doors that I knocked on, and I kid you not, I knocked on thousands of doors. And I'm not even trying to just be exaggerate. I broke down doors to try and talk to people, and so many people would shut me away because who was I? I was a 25, 26, 27-year-old guy that was growing into this particular individual, but I was a nobody. But in that time, I had no money. I had no nothing, because I'd quit everything to focus on something that was my passion. Now, a lot of people at that time would say to me, Amar, why are you doing this? Because how can you quit a stable job? You should transition. And that is definitely, I teach all my students nowadays, never quit something because you are in deeper shit afterwards, because you don't have money, right? But what we lack in money, we must make up in skill sometimes. And I knew that I needed to hone in on my skill because I had the time to do that at that particular time. My lifestyle was different. I was not married. I was 25. I was young. I fortunately had my mom and my dad that still continue to work really, really hard, but allowed me to just have that small little platform to push myself onto, to say, I'm going to go and do this and I'm going to do that. And from the high end of that, I've gone and grown two businesses, which one end I make people feel good inside and out. And on the other end, I help people grow into a better individual. And I wouldn't have done that without the process of potentially finding a mentor. Now, I believe in life, you should always give back to the people underneath you. And what I mean by that, life is always about learning, right? Knowledge is power. And I think I've found mentors above me who have passed on their wisdom to me. And it'd be raw and wrong to not pass my wisdom or my learnings down to somebody else. And this is the type of process that I've created in my businesses, especially with my training academy, where all the knowledge that I've learned, I work around that and I help people grow into other individuals. So soon you're starting to give back in life, and that's what's really, really important. I made a lot of sacrifices, and I did knock on many, many doors. But I knew that the 70% that I was bringing to the table was not enough in what I wanted to do, or the ideas, plans that I had. That I believe in life, mentorship is really, really important, because you get the advice, you get the knowledge, you get the experience, and you get the potential concept of networking that you never really had that opportunity for. I had two mentors in my life, and that was one mentor called Dr. Vincent Wong, who I met very, very early on in my career. And he basically shaped me for who I am today, because he allowed me to grow my skill, and he allowed me to build a platform for me to grow in my clinics. Okay, and I'm always so grateful for the guy that he was, and for him for taking me underneath his wing, because no one else would take me under their wing at that time. I also had the opportunity to meet a gentleman called Ketan McMahon, who in turn, I applied for this competition. I pitched him compared to other people that had not pitched him at the time. They were just asking for advice. And I said to him, I want you to be my mentor. I want you to come and work for me, with me. And at the time, I remember Ketan was saying to me, he will give me money. And I didn't want money. I didn't want to be given fish. I wanted to be taught how to get the fish. And I propositioned to him, I said, I don't want your money. I want your experience. I want your network. I'll give you a percentage of my company, but as a result, I want you to bring your team and run my operations, because I have no clue on that. But because of all of that and the experiences that I had and the learning of going through the processes, I've learned so much from that, because it's made me a better individual. And that's what allowed me to potentially grow. So sometimes I've learned, when you do things for free, it costs you your time, but sometimes when you want results, that costs you money. And that I learned the long way and the hard way. And this is where what I mean about is money. Money makes the world go round. But if you don't have a good mental state and a good sort of way and a passion that you find within, it's hard to take that 70% further, because you need that extra little bit of help potentially to help you grow your business. With the mentors, it's really important. I found that creating a plan is massively important in any business idea. If you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. Simple as that. You need a plan. I mean, if you look at my images that I've created in front of you, there's a reason why I put the plan in the top right corner. It's a football analogy. It looks like a goalpost. It's because when you shoot your shot in the corner, hopefully you will score and you'll win. And you need planning. You need planning to bring about better performance management, succession planning, leadership pipelines, and working out a way where you can delegate things, and understanding your cash flow, understanding your ability to know how much money you need, what your demographic is, what your ability to work in, your SWOT analysis, your strength, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats that come into the business planning. And this is something that I went and learned. I was gung-ho. I had this idea, I'm going to do this. But when I found Ketan and I found Vincent, who steered my energy and my ideas and the passions that I had, that helped me create a plan that allowed me to now be in a situation where we are stronger. I wouldn't say we're strong, but we're stronger than we were a year ago, or the year before that, or the year before that. Another thing that I think is really, really important in any business sort of skill is negotiation skills. And that could be in your relationships, that can be in your business partnerships, that could be with your dog, it could be with anyone. But negotiation skills is something that I've really taken away from my business experience. You learn everything on The Apprentice. I did anyway. Well, I thought I did. You learn everything on Dragon's Den, and yet again, so did I. I thought I did, but you learn Jack Diddley when you're in that particular situation. And negotiation key is really, really is key to everything that you do. And that negotiation came from me negotiating with my mentors to become a mentor of mine, because they're busy people. They don't need to mentor me. Why should they mentor me? Everyone comes with a passion. Everyone has an idea, but it's how you work with that individual in any situation, any negotiation situation. And I think there are 3 steps to negotiations. There is emotions, there's logic, and there's reputation. And with emotions, never act. Always act, never react. That's what I mean. It's what you did, what you say. A lot of people would forget that. Is how you make an individual feel is what will last a lifetime. And as long as you're a good individual and you come with a positive attitude, people will come at you in life in every shape or form. But if you don't react, you just act in a positive way, good things will come your way. And that's one art of negotiation. Logic is really important. Understanding your facts and your figures. As long as you understand every concept there's no way in hell that no one can push you aside. I remember very early on in my career, I really wanted to partner with a pharmaceutical company in the aesthetics industry, and a pharma company. And I remember going to have a meeting all the way in Swindon, and I got ripped apart. I got torn many holes in my body because I was useless. I had no plan. I couldn't really understand the individual. But I went back 3 years later, and I saw the same owner, and I said to her, "Do you remember who I am?" She was like, "Oh my God, I remember you." And I said, "Everything you taught me," I went away and I became a better individual for that, and I'll be back. And just in April this year, we signed a contract that is a massive, massive contract deal for us. Long-term negotiation plan, but it was a plan that I had to learn and grow in my individual. So negotiation keys is key in any situation. The other thing I would want to touch upon is finances. I was really bad with money, really, really bad with money. And I had some really bad choices of choosing accountants or finance teams around me, because that was my fault, and that will always be your fault if you never take control of your situation. Finances is really, really important in everything that you do. And as long as you have a solid understanding of how your business should run, your cash flow, your every JV, every situation that happens in your business, from your gross profit to your net profit to how much VAT you need to pay. As long as you understand that to an absolute T, you can always delegate that to a really good accountant. Fortunately, I've got an amazing accountant now in the form of Samantha, who's incredible. But I also bring something to the table now, whereas 3 to 4 years ago, I had no clue. I used to let people run wild with my business, and they totally screwed me up, and I've had to learn extremely the hard way of wealth management, and personally and for the business. And also in this image I've put, I'm wary of time, by the way, as well, but donations. It's always good to give back. It doesn't always have to be financially, but it's also good to give back in some form of way, because you can make money, you can bring wealth, but it's always about giving something back and helping people. And that's what I continue to do. I don't really go on about it, but it is something that I'm very passionate about. So that's something really important to go on about. But finances is key, absolutely key in any business format. From my lows to my highs, everything that I've learned, predominantly through the negotiations, for finding a mentor, finances has been so key to everything, because without the finances, I don't get the results that I need. And that's something to take away from that particular part. And the moral of all of this is just do it. Take the risk sometimes. one thing I will mention, it has to be a calculated risk. It doesn't always have to be just jumping ship and putting yourself into a deeper situation to come out into a better situation. But you sometimes just need to do it. You need to take that leap and never have a regret when you get older, because I don't have regrets in the sense of saying, I wish I didn't do that. Every day I wake up, I have a plan that I've created, and I will execute those plans as much as I can. And a lot of the things that I've achieved is because I've just done it. I don't allow me to think or double think anymore. And it's allowed me to do that. But it's because I've built a network around me of people that I can pick up a call, I can pick up a conversation, I can speak to an individual who I have a very good relationship with, because that was my reputation that I created for the negotiations. And I'm able to work on things a lot better. Now that's led me into situations where I never ever thought in my life that I would be in magazines, I would be highlighted in the aesthetics magazine. I've become an expert at Closer magazine. I've been on Sky documentaries. I've had articles. It's mental, like absolutely mental. I'm still introverted. I'm quite an introverted individual. As much as I am extroverted, I don't like to be too much out there. But with business, it's something that I've learned is a lot of businesses fail in the first 2 to 5 years, let's say, because they're never visible. And that's something that I've had to overcome as a entrepreneur or whatever business expert or whatever thing that I'm doing. It's because I need to push myself out there and be visible so that the eyeballs are on you. And as long as you're giving some sort of knowledge or some sort of like experience and helping people to become better people in whatever format of business that you're in, some way or another, it will come back with you. And it's been one hell of a journey. And that journey all led into writing a book, which was a simple guide to the world of aesthetics for pharmacists, which is my step-by-step guide on everything that's gone on in my life and what I've learned a lot more into. But never did I think 3 to 4 years ago I would have a book written with my name on it on Amazon that people can buy. Mental, absolutely mental, but it's all part of the journey. And this has been my journey. I'm excited to hear what your journey will be. And just the moral of all of this now is take the leap, don't jump, do jump, but make sure you're calculative in everything that you do. And your journey will be amazing with your highs and lows. But thank you so much for listening to my speech and my rambling on. I hope you've taken some form of experience from this. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I did get one question, which was, how do I motivate myself in difficult days? Simple answer, I never want to go back to those difficult days ever. And every day that makes me motivated to become a better individual, because those days were horrible. And we will have a conversation about that in due course. But thank you so much for everyone that listened, and I wish you all the best in your journey.